You're listening to Stories to Create with your host, Cornell Bunting. Author, motivational speaker, and founder of ES Each Episode. Cornell sits down with inspiring voices to uncover the stories that shape who we are and who we're becoming. Get ready to listen, learn, and be inspired. The show starts now.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Stories to Create podcast right here, ES Club. I'm your host, Cornell Bunting. I am excited to bring to you today, listen, a man that is doing big things out there in Johannesburg, South Africa, who is also a fashion designer. I'm telling you, people, we're going to talk about a few things big, but we're going to go back also because, you know, he used to be a player himself in the sports of basketball. And so we're gonna dive into his story. We're going to let you guys hear a little bit of who he is. So without further ado, let me welcome to the stage, Mr. Renaldo Cortez.
Thank you, man. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. First of all, how is the weather out there right now?
Hey, it's beautiful. It's Fahrenheit wise, it's about 72, maybe 73. It's nice and very breezy.
Oh, nice.
But you know, it's going into summertime. It's spring here, so yeah, it's nice.
That's a beautiful weather, man. I love that right there. We get extreme, you know, in Florida here, we get extreme, and we're really high or we get cold and we're like, okay, we don't have the right clothes to wear for this weather.
Yeah, you guys just got a really rough rain one, so makes sense.
Oh, yeah, man. So what we want to do, man, you know, we want to treat our guests, our listeners to the story behind the story, that we take them back. So we're going to create a tale. And so with that, you know, I want you to take us back to the early years, because, you know, I know you're in Soweto, but take us back to Cleveland. Take us back to where you were born. What was that like? How'd you grow up?
That's a good one. So I'm originally from Cleveland, born and raised in the city of Cleveland. Grew up on Lakeview Saint Clare with both parents. I had a sister. She's, she's still amongst us. But mom and my dad, they've transitioned on now. Mm-hmm. And we went from the inner city. And then, you know, my father was a television producer and videographer for ABC. So he worked way up the ladder to doing major productions and winning Emmys. So that moved us from the hood to the heights, if you will.
That's lovely.
Cleveland Heights, yeah, which was a blessed journey. But during those years, I went to parochial school, St. Aloysius, and then from there, St. Anne's, and then from there, spent 1 year at Roxborough Middle School, junior high at the time, and then graduated and went to Cleveland Heights. But coming up through those years, I was a kid who was autistic and had severe ADHD. So I was on a lot of Ritalin as a medication to help try to temperament that energy, which unfortunately those medications probably do more harm than they do good.
Yeah. But
sports was, for me, was kind of the vehicle that kind of brought me into balance. I did everything from ice hockey to soccer to football to basketball, boxing, martial arts, any sport that had the ability to exercise and compete. That was, you know, where I could be extreme in those passions. That was my thing. Art, you know, anything I put my mind to. I was very creative, so I have my own little businesses all the way up, landscaping and making steps and, you know, cooking, whatever I could do, man. It was always busy doing something.
That is awesome, man. So as an energy kid in school, when would you say you burn more energy in school? Middle or uh, so in America we have, how does it go? We got before high school, what's that? Middle school?
Middle school, junior high school, yeah.
Yeah. So when would you say you get to burn a lot of your energy, like in sports, like you got into sports, or what was that looking like?
So I used to fight a lot at the parochial school, which was called St. Anne's.
Yeah.
There were only a few of us who were melanated ones. And I come from a mixed bloodline background. So my family are in Native Indigenous American, Bantu, Germanic bloodline that came through the transatlantic slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then our people in the stateside, and there was the German side of the family. So when we went to Catholic school, my sister and I, we were the only brown-skinned kids with a handful of others.
Yeah.
So I had to fight basically a culture war and a physical fight war every day, multiple times a day.
Wow.
Being called, little nigger and, stupid. I learned differently. So I used to have to go to that short bus and, I used to have to take those exams and they say, you're special. It was kind of comical because in my mind, I was trying to figure out why nobody could connect with me.
Right. Wow.
So during those days at the Catholic school, we used to play a sport called blood ball. Basically, there was one ball, everybody from every grade, and that was kind of a chance for the older boys to jump on us little brown boys and, beat up on us and what have you. But me, I wasn't afraid, so I fought with everybody. They couldn't catch me. They couldn't get the ball from me. So I found it to be fun to make them chase and fall. And then if they wanted to fight, it was kind of like fight.
Wow.
I didn't feel I could ever be beat.
Yeah, you was fearless, man.
Very much so. Very much so.
That is beautiful. Now you're at a point, where your dad has gotten successful. You got an opportunity to move out of the environment and now really enjoying life at another level. How did your family cope with what that was looking like?
So we're a very frugal family, came from a blue collar mentality. And an entrepreneur's mentality. So on all sides of my family in Cleveland, we were entrepreneurs, very much involved with the church, mission food programs, community programs. And basically, nothing was handed to us. If you didn't work for it, you didn't get it. And the discipline was fierce. So you weren't allowed to talk back. And, a lot of the things that young people do today, you got your bums torn apart. And you missed meals, you missed playtime, you got a whooping from mom, from dad, and other elders when they're around, got your bums tore up for that. So it was really a strict environment. My father was a Vietnam vet.
I think I lost you there. Did I lose you there? Yeah, so you were saying.
So where was I? Oh, discipline.
Yeah.
Dad never gave handouts. Everything I wanted to do, he made me work for it, figure out a way to do it. He watched me, and then he would tell me what was right, what was wrong. We're very much a family of prayer, so I was always wanting to be a priest at an early age. So I went to junior seminary, I wanted to be a Jesuit priest. So always every day in church, I was an altar boy. But then, for us as a family, we were very involved with the community, very involved with, as we say, the revolutionary side of Cleveland,
Yeah.
very involved with conflicts that impacted the Black community and the indigenous community. So it was a very cohesive family model and environment. Also, my mother was very sickly, so she was always in and out of the hospital. That was kind of what we learned to get through adversity, watching her overcome illness every day.
Yeah.
So that gave me a different kind of fight, to watch her go through things and continue to, push. That gave me the fire also, so it's really amazing environment, man.
I like that, man. So, we want to go to your years of, actually, before we go there, because, you had an opportunity to go play basketball, but after high school, what happened?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every young person carries a story of hope, of struggle, of dreams waiting to rise. But in too many underserved communities, those stories go unheard.
At ease, Inc. Everyone has a story. We believe every voice deserves a chance through mentorship, empowering programs and storytelling workshops. We help youth discover their purpose, strengthen their mindset, and build a future they can be proud of.
From classrooms in Jamaica to communities across Southwest Florida,
ES is changing lives,
one story at a time.
but we can't do it alone. Join us, become a mentor, volunteer, donate, help us fuel the next generation of leaders, creators, and change makers.
Visit ahasink.org today, because when you help a young person share their story, you help them change their world.
So after high school, I played high school soccer, high school basketball. I was much better in soccer than I was basketball, but I was very good at both. So when I went to my first year of college, which was in Minnesota at junior college, I played college football in college and I played college basketball that year. Joined the United States Army and the National Guard, and that was like my first experience. But during that time, we had one of the best junior college basketball teams in America. And that was 1990. We were in the top 10 in the country, top in scoring in the country. And the expectations for basketball were very high. So the coach was like, look, you're not going to play football after this season. That's it. So it was like, take the scholarship, keep the scholarship, or play football and figure it out. So I left football alone, and basketball for me was, was that thing. That was, I wanted to be an NBA player. So, Michael Jordan was my vision of how to get to the league. In high school, I was cut in the 10th grade, kind of like a laughing stock. Came back the same year in junior varsity and ended up starting. And, I went to a basketball camp called 5 Star 3 years in a row during high school. And I got to be with the best players in the world. And for me, I belonged. So I took that fire, that hunger, and that desire to win, following the Michael Jordan path line. And that was what kind of drove my fire. Not to mention, I never forgot my high school coach, James Capoletti, telling me that I wasn't good enough, and I knew I was the best player on that team. So I never, that instinct never to give up for me. When I got to college, the same premise applied. But we had other issues there. They wanted to ship me to war during 1990 for Desert Shield, which turned to Desert Storm. I fought with the military about that and said, I'm not going to go fight people who look like me and represent me, but they're just in another place. So I understood that early.
Yeah.
The white kids up at the college burned a cross in our yard saying, nigger basketball players go home. This is 1990. Of
Wow.
course, I was ready to go to war for that because my family had taught us what our people went through and that America was not our origin as the America we knew.
Right.
And we always had issue. And I knew growing up being, traumatized by white teachers, abused even, degraded as a human, even having to fight my way up through the schools, that there were two different journeys for people that look like us and for people that did not.
Yeah.
So I knew at an early age that if I was going to be able to compete, that I was going to have to learn the game and be a master.
Yeah.
Because they flipped the game. They meaning people with a supremacist, colonial, imperialistic, and materialistic ideology.
Right.
I won't say white people because that's not a people. That is a concept of ignorance.
Right. Yeah. Wow. So, you then get an opportunity to. So if we fast forward just a little bit, you got an opportunity to go play basketball in Soweto.
Yes.
What was that experience like? So it's, take us to that weekend. How did the opportunity came about?
Okay, so 1995, I graduated from University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown, turned pro, started going to free agent basketball camps. First two I went to in Texas. First time I went to what I call a basketball meat market, a few guys standing on the sidelines, about 500 basketball players in the gym, 3 referees, 1 basketball. We all paid $2,000 or so to get there, flight trips, hotels. And they said to me, you got 7 minutes to play. We played. I think I touched the ball 1 time. And then that event changed my whole ideology of being a pro.
Yeah.
I realized then that no one was going to give you, there's no guarantees. This is your goal, your dream. And if you don't apply, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The next camp, there was a guy in the arena that day, Kurt Pickering. And this is a phenomenal story because they're all connected.
Yeah.
Kurt says to me, hey, he's sitting in the stands with shorts on, T-shirt, painter hat, looked like just a guy that, was just watching the game. He hands me a flyer. He says to myself and a guy named Tron Jenkins, played for University of Akron. He says, guys, I want you to come to my camp. I'm not going to guarantee anything. You come, you play. I'm going to guarantee you're going to get the looks. I was former player personnel developer for the CBA. I run my camps out in the West Coast. Come, if you make the All-Star team, you get a full pay trip to play in the NBA Summer League in Long Beach, California.
Wow.
Long story short, I did that. I made that All-Star team, and I went to play for Team Aquarius in Long Beach. Nothing but NBA guys. Magic Johnson had a team, so I got to meet all the top players, top ex-players, top whoever's of the league.
Yeah.
Nothing developed out of that. So I played continuously, reaching to get into, camps. So it was kind of like pay your way, got invited to the Grand Rapids Hoops, made it to the veterans camp. And then they hired a pro player that was 30 years old from Shreveport because their team folded. And they said, well, you're a free agent. Keep trying. Thanks for coming. We look to see you. You got the goods. We'll see you on the level.
Wow.
So that's the point where basketball becomes real.
Yeah.
You recognize again that no one is going to give you anything. You have to pave your way. You got to, put in your dues, and you still may never get a look.
Right.
And you're talking millions of people trying to get there. So from there, I played with the Athletes in Action, briefly Fellowship of Christian Athletes, briefly, and then I turned an opportunity with the Harlem Kings, but it was the Harlem Road Kings first out of Cleveland. And then there was another team that formed that was in Toronto with Trevor Ruffin, or Trevor Shelton. I went to play with him in Toronto. And Winston Graggs, who was the promoter of that team and co-owner with Trevor out of Cleveland. The rest now is phenomenal. So we played We had a game at the Gund Arena in Cleveland, which is now the NBA arena now in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And I dunked from the free throw line, and they were like, how does this guy do that? And I said, these things are easy. So from Canada to the game at the Gund Arena, and now we played everywhere. I travel all over the Midwest to play against the top players, and I kind of have my way with them. It was, pro players or ex-pros or guys trying to get there. So the level was normal.
Yeah.
I get a call from one of my buddies, Darren Cooper. And Darren, we had chopped it up at one of the NBA Summer League games in Cleveland, which I played. And Darren's like, yeah, I'm in town, but I'm playing in South Africa. He gives me 2 phone numbers. Cornell, this is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I've got a box from 1995 of college coaches, pro coaches, scouts, agents, whatever. I've called every number in the box. I'm pretty much done. I'm doing ministry work. And I say, okay, let me call these numbers. I want to give it one more shot.
Yeah.
So I call the first number. The guy says, we'll call you back. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I know that story. Click, delete, throw the paper in the trash. Second number I call, get a guy on the phone, and he's talking in Zulu, which I didn't know was Zulu at the time. And he says, hi. And I says, hi. My name is Renaldo Cortez Rip Gates. You can call me Rip. I'm calling because I want to play for your team. Now, just before I get off the phone, I have film tapes, everything, whatever you need. But I want to play for your team, and I know that I can help change the dynamic of your team. What can I do to make your team?
Yeah.
So he says, let me call you back. And I said, all right, cool. Now I say to him, if you're going to waste my time, please don't call me back. Because now I'm an adult at this journey of basketball.
Yeah,
Not a player looking for a handout.
Right.
I'm presenting my package. You present to me yours. And I say, look, I want to play. So if you're going to waste my time, don't waste my time.
Yeah.
He says, no, we're going to call you back. What are you doing this coming weekend? I said, well, just church and, work, and that's it. He says, so there's an all-star game. So I'm thinking, right, that this is New York, Gaucho's gym, high school all-star game. We're going to talk while we watch players. Cool, no big deal. Was disconnected from basketball, so I wasn't watching NBA at that time. I didn't know the all-star game was coming up. And he says, I'm going to buy you a ticket.
Yeah.
My assistant's going to work it out for you. So, of course, I go to pick up the ticket, no ticket. I call him back. I'm cussing this guy out. I'm like, look, man, you wasted my time. I asked you if you weren't going to be a man of honor. Don't waste my time.
Yeah.
He says, wait a minute. Go in the background. I hear a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
The assistant comes back and says, Mr. Gates, I'm sorry. The tickets were all sold out for airport travel. Would you be willing to ride a train? I said, of course. 15 minutes later, I got my ticket.
Yeah.
So I go to the game. They pick me up in a Lincoln Town Car 2-door limo. Never saw one of those, but I've seen limos. It wasn't no big deal. So the guy gets out the car, grabs my bag. So I snatched the bag, like, bro, what's going on? I said, I don't know who you are. You just get out and grab my bag. You don't know me.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, are you Mr. Gates? I am. He says, I'm sorry, sir. I said, bro, I'm sorry. I'm from Cleveland, man. We just don't walk around grabbing folks' stuff without talking. Please forgive me. So then I go and meet the owner of the team. Now, the owner of the team, his name is Albert McQuinnan. Dr. McQuinnan now.
Yeah.
He was the Director General of the Office of Home Affairs for the South African government.
Yeah.
He says to me, when I get to the hotel, he says, hey, Rip, how are you? And we meet, we talk. He hands me a good amount of money. He says, whatever you need, is this enough? So it was almost $1,000.
Yeah.
And I said, man, oh, this brother's a drug dealer. First thing I think, somebody handed you loot like that, they in the dope. They selling dope. I'm in the link, now I'm done. So he hands me the bread and he's like, is that enough? I said, this is more than enough. I don't spend a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Never ask the man for one dime, Cornell, never.
Wow.
Because remember, my father taught me, if you don't earn it, you don't get it. Don't ask, never borrow, don't ask another man for nothing. That's weird to me. So we go and, we hang out on Friday. I meet all the NBA guys. I run into D Brown. Now, D played for the Celtics, won the dunk contest. But how I connected with D was 1991. We won the Reebok 3-on-3. Myself, Darren Washington, Walt Evans, Ernie Silvers in Las Vegas. My favorite 2 players in the NBA were Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan. I meet Dominique Wilkins because he presents us with D. Brown with the trophy for championship.
Right.
And I meet Jordan in 1992 doing a basketball camp with him in Cleveland with Charles Oakley and also Brad Sellers. So as I meet my two favorite players in different spans of opportunity, Albert says, we're going to go to the All-Star Weekend after game. I meet David Stern and his wife, Diane, late David Stern.
Yeah.
David says, hi, Rip. Albert tells us a lot about you. But by the way, we've been following you since you were in high school.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
He says, anything in the basketball world, we know everything.
Wow.
It's almost like the Untouchables. We know it all.
Yeah.
So we know who you are. We've seen you at 5-star. We've seen you in high school. Actually, a guy who was following you lives right there in Cleveland, University Heights. And I'm like, okay. He actually works with a guy by the name of Tiger Woods. So I said, really? I said, who's Tiger from Ohio State, the golf player?
Yeah.
He says, yeah. This guy's name is Mark Steinberg, who was Tiger's agent.
Wow.
Ironically, he's sitting next to me at the All-Star game during the All-Star game.
Yeah. Wow.
So I'm saying, when I'm playing David's words to myself, I'm like, nah, this is organized, man. This is a setup.
Yeah.
There's no way I could be sitting next to Tiger's agent, who's living in Cleveland, working for McCormick, who owns IMG, International Management Group, and I'm signing a contract to go play pro basketball.
Right.
Now, I signed my contract never asking to get paid big dollars like the Americans, because I already knew. How are you going to ask for big money and nobody's seen you play on the level?
Right.
I signed for $1,100 to play.
Wow.
My contract was worth probably $20,000 a month with all of the assets that I was blessed with.
Yeah.
Transport, day-to-day transport, food, housing, pocket money per diem, the paycheck to play, clothes, communication, all of it valued out because I do costings. It's about a $20,000 paycheck a month, man.
That's beautiful, man.
Didn't know that my other teammates weren't making that money. They had jobs. Didn't know that until I started playing. So I found out that as Americans, we are the most privileged.
Yeah.
When we get our opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
On June 7th, 1998, in Peter Marisburg, as I'm playing for the Soweto Panthers, I'm leading the league as basically the best point guard in the league.
Yeah.
One of the top 4 players in the league. I run into my teammate, Billy Banda, face on face, head on head. When we collide heads, I drop dead on the court after 2 steps. 34 plus minutes of chest compressions that bring me back in the ambulance. I wake up in the ICU in the medical clinic in Peter Marisburg 4 days later. I thought it was the second half of the game. I'm ready to go play. They tell me, do you know where you are?
Yeah.
And that day, Renaldo Cortez, Rip Gates. So for 20 years now, and there's many journeys to this story, which is in the book that I'm writing and finishing now called Sun Kissed by the South African Sun. I talk about these storylines of how I got to where we're talking today. And I'm telling you, my brother, it is absolutely the same way that I live, out of the norm, but I walk a different beat, a different drum. I walk a different set of steps, and it's very weird, to say the least. The impossible things for me are very practical, simple. To have one thing to do is absolutely the hardest thing in the world for me. I've been through addiction. I've been through alcohol. I've been through depressions, trying to figure out why I am existing on this plane.
Right.
And now I know.
Wow. So, because I know my listeners are gonna be a little mind bottled there a little bit, and just trying to figure out what happened. So, in the game, you had a collision. You had a collision in the game. You knocked out, and how many days later you woke up in the hospital?
4 days.
4 days. Wow.
Yes. Now, when I woke up, I was paralyzed. I couldn't move anything. And they didn't think that I would ever move. But God is an awesome God. See, the creator of all of this earth has things organized and figured out. Some things are a mystery.
Right,
There's a mystery.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Man. Wow. That's beast right there.
I have pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a man of cliffhanging. So, I love cliffhanging. So, I want to leave some of that treat for all the listeners that will go and purchase your book when your book comes out. To hear more about that and stuff like that. And I know they're like, Cornell, oh my goodness. But we have quite a bit that I wanted to touch on with you before our show ends. So, one of the things I wanted to touch on as well, when that unseen event happened, now, with reality setting in, what was the next focus? Like, what was on your mind to like, okay, what do I need to do to get back to where I want it to be?
So ironically, I was married to my wife, Shauna, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came home, I shortly after flew to Istanbul, Cappadocia, Europe, and Ankara in Turkey. And I coached the pro clinic there, had another job opportunity to compete, much more money on the table for this one with Effie's Pilzer at the time, and a good friend of mine, Tolga Unegren, who ironically used to come to the Cleveland Heights Y in Cleveland and play basketball with us when he was working with the Cavaliers. Because all the NBA guys would come up while we were in high school and college and we played.
Mm-hmm.
Tolga's running the whole show out there. He meets up with me while we're there. I was like, yo, I want to give you a run. You need to play for us and we're going to try you out. And when I went to do the physical, I couldn't function. Wow. My left side, it just wouldn't work. I went to take a step and I like blacked out and it was ugly. So that didn't happen. That's when I realized that me playing basketball at that capacity, I wanted to get back, but I just couldn't see it. It was like wiped from my vision.
Right.
And the fire and the hunger that I used to have at that time as a player was also gone.
Yeah.
So when I came back to the States, I went through a unique separation, divorce with my wife at the time, but I had met another wife. And when I met her, it was kind of like almost like somebody handed the baton.
Right.
Because I practice polygyny, so I believe in that, but I wasn't living it in that premise of journey at the time.
Yeah.
So when I met her, we spent a lifetime of 20 years together, which culminated in 2018. Wow. So this journey of where I'm at, I have children. My oldest is 34, 3 grandsons, son-in-law, 4 daughters. I had 6, 2 passed away, 2 of which passed in my hands. My mother passed in my hands. So there's a serious spiritual happening that developed in me from that June 7th day. Yeah. Things that just don't make sense to the traditional walks.
Right. Wow. That is amazing. You ventured into fashion in 2019. But you ventured into fashion in 2019 with your other half. Why the choice of fashion when you did come out with that line?
So 2014, I was in a horrible accident. Mm-hmm. Another one. Because I've had a few awakenings. And in the nursing home, because I spent 3 months, 2.5 months in there, I had a vision. And I developed my sports company called AWII Sports, shaped like a pyramid. The logo's a pyramid with a swoosh, but it actually is a number 7.
Mm-hmm.
So in the game, the accident happened June 7th. I was wearing jersey number 7. We were down 7 points. I was born July 21st, 1972. When you add them up, it becomes 70, cancel 07.
Yeah.
I was released from the medic clinic on the 7th day. That 7 now, when you shift it in a left degree angle, it's a pyramid. Where I came out of the darkness through the fire and light, I walked out in the shadow and I was holding an orange ball. That was what I was when I came back from Flatline. That's what I remember.
Right.
So now the logo is actually AWII. So when you're a child, you know how you get an ouchie or owie, they say owie.
Yeah, yeah.
So the owie is actually arise and win within.
Yeah.
AWII.
Yeah.
So that's how that was born. So that 7 is very symbolic. Also, it's not a word that can never be divided by itself, or a number that can never be divided.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful number in the spirit realm.
Yeah.
So I walk with 7.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
So during that journey, being a father, a grandfather now, I'm here in South Africa. I've married my wife. She's Zulu and Khoisan. It's just been beautiful to get to the fashion. In my mind, I've always been fashion, shirt and ties coming through Catholic school. I was always like, with this autism, being spectrum, I always see bursts of colors, lights, sounds. I see people moving and it creates pictures. And I just start doing things and people are like, how do you do that? Well, it's just one of the rooms in the minds of Renaldo's that create these things. So in 2018, 2019, I created the Owie t-shirt and gear. But Renaldo Cortez was the visitation that I had in 2014. And also in 2011, I had 6 kidney surgery procedures. And Renaldo Cortez on my Instagram page then was Renaldo Cortex because it was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The X meaning variable like algebra for transition or change or revolution.
Right.
So Renaldo Cortez was me coming forth to the person that I was, but did not come yet. It was a visitation from my higher self. And I went into the hospital with those 6 surgeries. And when I came through that process, I had a full head of hair and a full beard. So I have to show you the picture one day. But that version of my older ancestral self was speaking to myself coming through that transition.
Yeah.
So it was like the dimensions of 11 were connecting me.
Right.
So I always see 11-11s and 7-7-7s and 3-3-3s and 2-2-2s. It's every day I see them. They speak to me in almost like a spiritual language.
That's beautiful, man. That is amazing. Wow. Now, you've got a chance to showcase your pieces. What would you say was your biggest venue that you got to showcase your line?
So this is going to be an abstract answer, and this is how I foresee, see, and shadow see it.
Yeah.
When I was doing the fashion shows, it's almost as if I've been to the end of it all. I've seen it, I've done it, and then I came back and now I'm walking back over the phases. So the first actual fashion show that was the biggest venue for me, it wasn't London, it wasn't Milan, Morocco, it wasn't New York. It was when my wife was showcasing our heritage show, which is called Ezazimzansi, here at our house in South Africa. And while that was happening, I was actually in rehab in California.
Wow.
After the life just collapsed. Financially, marriage with my ex, divorce, chaos. I checked my life into rehab to come to know what self-care was. Because I didn't know what that was. That didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And during that time, we did the fashion show while I was in rehab. And it was unbelievable. And it was based on the premise of my late sister-in-law, Spangale Sukulu, who died of breast cancer, but she was the first Black Miss South Africa. And she was a Izzy Zulu presenter and worked for SABC here as a television host. So we did that show in collaboration with her memory to talk about heritage of the 10 tribes of Southern Africa, which most people don't even know. They are the root tribes and many facets of the people who were kidnapped and stolen and slaughtered.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the cohesion. So when we started doing the creative gear and I started designing these pieces, and my wife is also a designer, this was born out of Renaldo Cortez.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
Now, the beautiful part is that I had 12 retail stores in Cleveland with my wife of 20 with my children where we manufacture plant-based soaps. So when I came back from South Africa, right, in 1998, I joined Amway. And when I got married in 99, I joined Amway with my wife at the time, and I wanted to make soap.
Yeah.
But I was like, after going to all these rallies and functions, I'm like, how can I just get paid 2% of a sale when I'm selling all these products and the company's making millions and you got us hyped up, but 2%?
Yeah.
I said, I came up through, aspects of the street, the hustle life. So like, if I shoot 100 jumpers and I'm only making 2, man, that's garbage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to be up around 75, 80%, 85.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me because that's how I think. I think in reciprocities. If I
Right.
plant something, I need to see a garden, not one apple falling from one stem.
Right.
So I said we must make our own soap and we must sell it door to door, just like they did with Amway.
Yeah.
So her dad had passed and she started making soap. And we put it in the closet. And one day we presented product to the family. And I said, no, I'm gonna open up a lot of shops and we're gonna sell door to door and we're gonna take over the world making soap. But we're gonna make it from plants because she's a vegan.
Yeah.
So we bore the empire, smell good soaps. And then I said one day, if somebody sues us for false advertisement because they washed their bums with the soap and they say, oh, the soap stunk and it broke me out, they're going to sue us for false advertisement. So we need to keep it simple. Her name was Betsy. So I said, Betsy, we keep it simple. Simple, stupid, ABC, 1, 2, 3, easy for you, easy for me. And I said, well, put your signature on it and we'll name it because it's taking on your persona.
Right.
Our persona as a family. And we'll build it up. So we built the family business.
That's
Unfortunately, it crashed and burned in 2018. And I started another one. Opened up a retail store in Minneapolis. Same thing, Renaldo Cortez natural soaps and stuff. Renaldo Cortez 1972 wines. And, I'm getting ready to launch that soap business here now in South Africa for the whole diaspora.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope right there, man. Now, you have been blessed to work with the youths in Soweto. And I gotta tell you, man, that now that I'm, learning that, you work with the Soweto Panthers because I've been there, I've been there. I just, whenever I'm in certain places, I'm moving fast because, I'm there with people that are, they got different locations that I got to be and meet people and all these things. So, man, it would have been crazy just even getting to run into you over there. But, it's never late, man, because, we still have those connection and things to come there. But you got the opportunity to become the coach for the Soweto Panthers. How did that happen?
Yes. So the team I played for was the Soweto Panthers.
Right.
Now, during the era we played, 98, it was called the Premier Basketball League. After that, there was a lot of fighting with Basketball South Africa and the sponsors. They canceled the league for long years.
Mm-hmm.
Albert McQuinnan decided to launch a new league called the Basketball National League because his heart and passion, basketball, was a part of the growth and development of cultural change in South Africa through basketball and sports. So it was literally a liberator and a unifier for the people, basketball.
Yeah.
Speed up now to the BNL. I think it launched in 2013, and then from 2013 now. Now, I had no contact with anyone except a few of my teammates and some of the players that were in the game when I flatlined.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been having these visions for 20 years, over 20 years now, of us being together and doing these things that I'm doing now. Literally, I have already done these things and I've seen it, and now I'm walking back through it as I live and breathe today.
Wow.
When I was in the hospital in 2014, I was having these visions in a nursing home about coaching basketball in South Africa. So when I got injured with my leg snapped back and folded in the men's league in Cleveland at Fairfax Rec. I was in that hospital and I kept dreaming that I was coaching. So I started sending Instagram or Twitter text, and it's documented, it's still there.
Yeah.
One day, one game. And that was my goal to come back when I got injured. I wanted to come back and play one game in South Africa for the Panthers, retire, and start coaching.
Yeah.
And then develop what I'm doing right now. So as I'm in the nursing home, I'm sending these texts out, and they're lining up with October 11,
Wow.
11/11.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, one day, my career is now ended. I've ruptured MCL, ACL, PCL, kneecap, patella tendon. I cannot play anymore, but I will come and develop and coach basketball. See y'all soon. We'll win a championship.
Yeah.
I hadn't spoken to anybody, bro. It was just in the Twitter. I put it out there, Twitter.
Yeah, yeah.
One day, one game.
Yeah.
2018, I filed a lawsuit against the city of Cleveland, against the municipality, which is impossible to win a lawsuit.
Yeah.
My attorney was doing depositions, and one of the brothers who I knew from the community was on the elevator after giving his deposition, talking to somebody on the phone. Did not know my lawyer was the attorney. Started talking about he had known that what I was saying was true.
Whoa.
So my attorney started recording him and said, I'm going to drag you in for contempt of court if you don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
Now, talk about God's needle in a haystack.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
They settled a lawsuit with me, and I flew to South Africa with my wife, Betsy, at the time, and the film crew to do my film and documentary to tell the story of what happened, go to the locations. Man, when I tell you, I was hired as the head coach that day.
Wow.
Came back to the States, and there was a general manager who the team had hired, and this person was dialoguing with me and started to tell the ownership group that I wanted all this money. Now, the guy was lying and told them that I wanted all this money and that I was too much and that they needed to hire somebody else. So he hired another coach. When I found out the news, I got on the airplane with with Betsy and the film crew, and we flew over here, and we were here when I signed the contract. I'm sorry. And when I went back to the States, I came back in July because we came during March, April.
Mm-hmm.
And I flew into the city, walked straight into the boardroom and told this brother, who did you hire in my place? He is not the coach, I am. And why would you lie and tell them that I wasn't? I have video footage of the agreement. This is the people that I saved my life. Albert McQuinn paid my $1 million medical bill when I was here. Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
This guy's name is Elvis. And I'm like, brother, you are the worst kind. I said, so we got a problem. Close the door.
Yeah.
So you're going to make this right today. You're not walking out that door.
Right, right.
See, when somebody messes with your destiny, you don't allow them to do it. I don't care how far they are away from you or close to you. That's what I did. I came back and took my destiny.
Yeah, yeah.
From a thief.
I love that.
So that year we won the championship.
Wow.
And what the ownership group asked me, they said, please, don't fight. Just be the associate head coach. Get us through the season.
Yeah.
So I did that. I humbled myself. And the brother who coached, Steve Butler, great brother, amazing brother.
Yeah.
We won that championship together.
Yeah.
And the next season, I took over as head coach. And then I came back to America, and I was restricted from traveling for 4.5 years, bro. I married my wife here in 2019, and I came back to America and was not able to travel because of the fees and the costs that they had applied to me from a divorce that my ex-wife applied, and I wasn't even present for, never had a say, and they hit me with ridiculous amounts.
Wow.
And it was like, these things that's being produced as legal documents are lies.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through hell.
Yeah.
4.5 years. And every day we talked on the phone together for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I
Wow.
took over the team again. The second season I was there coaching, we won the league outright, lost the championship games in 120 seconds to Igoli Magic, which the coach who beat us, my boy Flosh, he ended up becoming the head coach of the Cape Town Tigers. And
Nice.
he was also in that game in 1998 with me when I
Wow.
flatlined on the court. So these people in leadership, these are all my brothers, and basketball is going to transform in this country because God has brought us together.
Yeah. I love
among fashion and everything else that I'm doing.
I love that, man. And I got to tell you, man, and this not even me, calling you on the phone and telling you this. I'm telling you this so even my listeners can hear me telling you this, man. With my organization, EOS, that helped to create self-reliance and a growth mindset for disadvantaged youths in underserved community. We gonna work with you, man. We gonna work with you over there in
Thank you, bro.
Johannesburg, my brother. So listen, man, I'm really excited for what you're doing out there and the lives you're gonna be impacting and the lives you already impact. You have a lot of stuff going on that it's close to a lot of what I go in. So we have somewhat of similar stories, because I don't know if you got a chance to read my story. I was flatline as well, but I died in 2016,
I know.
June 17.
Look at the numbers, man. Can't make this up.
You can't make this up, bro.
617, man. Look, 6 months. 6 plus 1 is 7.
Yeah.
7. 7, 7. It's
and
there.
The year I died, was 2016. So yeah, man. Listen.
Wow.
A lot of times, man, destiny has a way to connect the dots that we sometimes have in front of us, but not necessarily sure how to connect the dots. So, bro, there's something huge happening. There's something huge going on. And, listen, you were supposed to be on this show for a little bit back, but I had a lot of big things going on in those times.
Sure,
and I was like,
I saw.
Yeah. I said, I got to get this brother on the show. And, yesterday we were supposed to get hit by this hurricane, but we escape it, we escape it. But it dismantled.
Thank God.
Yeah, it dismantled a lot of things, but I said, you know what? Nothing's going to stop us from making the show happen today. So, I'm really excited, man.
I'm grateful.
Yeah. That you were able to get in and we talk on this. And what I'm gonna do, man, because I definitely got to fly over there, sit down with you, and we're gonna go over some stuff. In a little bit, I fly to India to meet with Shah, to sign with them with Ahmad Couture for them to kind of bring out the more luxury version of the Cornell line. So we gonna work. We gonna work, my brother. We gonna work.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
I want to I've got another show coming up in June, Africa Day, and it'll be our second one.
Yeah.
But I would love for your brand to be a part of that show. But I also want, if you can come before that, man, come before that.
Definitely. I'll be there before that. Definitely.
You'll stay at the house, or our family has an Airbnb. You can stay there. You'll have an option.
Man, listen,
your family, so it ain't gonna be no tourist nonsense.
I'm down to hurt like that, bro. I stay at the house. It's beautiful.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, we're gonna eat food in the community. We're going back to Soweto. We're going to El Dorado Park. We're gonna go to the Khoisan. So a lot of things are moving on this side. I was very blessed to be connected in with the Khoisan chiefs and the Khoisan community. They're eradicating the word colored, because there's no such people as coloreds.
No.
Just like there was no such people as niggas.
No. And listen, I want to treat my listeners. I want to treat my listeners because, I've been over there to Soweto. how red is the dirt? Like tell our listeners, man, just a little bit about Soweto, the red dirt. Talk to them a little bit, because
That red
Soweto is
dirt
like the biggest
it look like
township.
my skin, right? It's like the color of my skin. And on some days it's much more orange. I will say it like this, and this is gonna mean something very, very important. Alkebulan is the original name of our land. The name Africus or Africa is not the name of our land. It is a colonized Roman term that came from Africus,
Yeah.
based in Tunisia. That is not Alkebulan. Alkebulan is Mother Earth, or the Garden of Eden. So the soil here is absolutely the same as what it says in the book of Genesis 2:7, when Yahweh, Allah, produced man out of a lump, out of soil. And he said, I create you, male and female, out of the image of me.
Yes.
Which means the soil.
Yes.
So the soil is orange, red, brown.
Yes.
So when us as a people want to know who we are of the great I am, and we are red, orange, brown as bronze of the soil.
Yes.
That is our mark.
Yes.
So right now, brother, I'm sitting in Canaan land. Ironically, Canaan land is South Africa. It is the Garden of Eden. They say that it is located in Botswana, but this is all Botswana and Zimbabwe and Eswatini. So this is actually North Africa, and South is actually up top.
Yeah.
So they flipped the map.
Yeah.
And it's documented.
Yeah.
So the soil is, Soweto is the soil of God.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Listen, man, you have no idea how excited I am, man. And I don't know if you ever go onto that one street in Soweto where Nelson Mandela House is. And then
Vilagasi Street, absolutely.
Yeah. So up there's about 2 houses up is the lady that has all the snakes in her house. It's the snake lady house.
Yes. Yeah. I've been there. Yes.
Yeah. My host.
Yeah, I've been there.
Listen, my host brought me there, and she had this yellow python. That's female. She had this name, and it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of the snake name right now. But she said she wants to sit with you. And she put her on my shoulder.
On your neck.
I had her with me. My host took off running. He was gone.
Yeah. I know the lady, Hey, that snake could have squeezed up on your forehead and popped it off like a little grape.
Oh yeah. But she said, listen, they know you're here. You are someone that is special, and they honor you. It was a crazy moment, man.
The ancestors.
Yeah, man.
The ancestors are real.
Yeah, they're real. And I got to tell you, so my mom and all her line is from the Maroon. My mom, my mom people that, got sent to Jamaica was one of the reasons slavery, they struggle with slavery there, because the Maroons, they escaped into the cockpit, into the mountain areas, and they fought with the British for a very long time. Yeah. So, I know I have that Maroon, blood, all this stuff. And so, when I met the elder over there, man, and he said some stuff to me, I said, listen, I know that there's certain dots I still haven't connected yet, but he said, listen, you're a light, and you draw certain energy to you, and I just want you to identify what some of those are and remove the ones that are not for you. So, my brother.
Yes,
man.
My brother. I can't wait for you to come, man. Well, we're here. You're here now.
Yeah,
now our spirits are bond.
Yeah.
So you're here with me every day now.
Yes,
and vice versa.
Yes, sir.
And our people, and they're with you.
Yeah.
Our people are in great and dire need of freedom and liberation.
Yes.
It's a new arising happening in Akib Yalam.
Yeah.
And we are the ushers of this. And I'm excited to see the light transform. And
Beautiful.
all nations will become freed and delivered from this plague that upon all of us.
Definitely, because
All of us will.
we do have a plague on us right now. So
And there will be no black man or white man. It will be righteous.
It'll be righteous, man. I tell people, if we look at each other as vessels, because these vessels can't move without the spirit that's in us, that leads us, So, once we get this figured out, man, a lot of these people will treat each other better. And so, as we get towards the end of the show, I would love for you, man, to just leave a word of encouragement for individuals that have gone through unseen events, that have, maybe gotten injured, paralyzed, whatever it is, and now they just feel discouraged. They feel like, now they don't have a purpose. What would you say to them?
I would say, my sisters and my brothers, my family, man, listen. You have breath in your body. When God gave us the pneuma in that same chapter of Genesis, the book of genes, the book of beginnings, he gave us a system, gene system, cis. And in that system, he put the breath of life in your body. If you are not breathing and living in that breath, you've never been alive. But the moment you awaken to that breath, which means to come to self-knowing of your own, who you are and why you are, what is your why? Your how is just a matter of just life experiences, because that path has been molded. Né? But that system is running like a river inside of your temple. Your body is the church, the mosque, the temple, the synagogue, whatever the name you need to apply to who you are a vessel of the Spirit of the Most High.
Yeah.
Yahweh, Allah, Elohim, Adonai, the great I am, God, the creator, however you position it.
Yeah.
Your breath is short. You have spiritual asthma. Yeah. So I will ask you to arrest that development by simply looking inside and realizing that the power of the Most High is in you. You've already become victorious. Vibrate around breath of life. Anything that is living, you need to be around physical plants, change your diet, meditate, enjoy nature, get away from toxic-minded people, toxic conversations, toxic self-conversations. And if you are ill and dealing with something, don't be arrogant and feel like you're some superhero. You're not. Your spirit is, but your body's flesh. So it will break down. Your mind is flesh if it's not being inspired by spirit.
Yes.
So tune into your creator.
Yes.
Tune into the creative in you, and at all choices now. Do not believe other people for what they say about you. That is witchcraft or ghost spellings.
Yo.
And all good news ain't good news.
Yes. Wow.
So believe in who you are and cut off evil. Evil is a choice, just like success is a choice. And success is not material gain. It is simply swellings, like a busted knee that swells. But creating legacy, succession, digging to the roots and being firm and sound, that is your legacy.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Big gems, my brother. Man, I appreciate you, man, for dropping gems.
Love you, man.
This is amazing.
And I love all of the listeners. I love you all too. I'm listening to you all talk to me, and I can hear you. I can hear your pain and your joy. So we're gonna speak into the joy, and we're gonna learn from the pain.
Yes, man. This is amazing, man. Listen. Sir Renaldo Cortez, Mr. Gates.
Blessings, my brother.
It's a whole lot right here, man. A whole lot of blessings to you, man. A whole lot that you're doing, and I look forward to a whole lot that we're gonna be doing. This is amazing, my brother. It was great to have you on the show.
Sure.
And listen, I look forward to all the impact that we have coming for all the individuals that don't know who we are yet.
Man, much blessings. And there's a Zulu word that says we are one.
Yes,
it means Samunye.
Samunye.
So my brother, we are Samunye and Amandala, ne?
Amandala. My brother, until our next show, where we have another decorative guest, right here in EOS Club. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today, right here at EOS Club.
Thanks for tuning in and downloading this episode of Stories to Create. We appreciate you being part of this growing community of storytellers and listeners. If today's conversation inspired you, please share the show with friends, family, or anyone who could use a little motivation in their journey. A special thank you to our sponsors, EHAS Organization, Cornell Bunting LLC, and Nostril Cheese Chase for supporting the mission and making this podcast possible. To learn more about our work, upcoming projects, and how you can get involved, be sure to visit www.hissinggorge and www.cornellbunting.com. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your story has power.